Alright, so here I am with my lady April and my other lady, Oreo. And us two, not Oreo, have just gone to see Star Trek Into Darkness. And I don't know if they actually went into darkness in any kind of real sense, aside
It was
from...
more metaphorical darkness.
I guess.
I guess.
Not any kind of literal darkness, aside from space being dark, but they do that all the time.
Yeah.
But, she had not actually seen the Star Trek reboot until last night, which I made her see.
I had to watch it. Yep.
And you did not like the Star Trek reboot at all.
I didn't like it.
You were kind of biting your lower lip the entire time.
It just... there were too many plot holes. The actors turned in a good performance. Yeah. It was obvious they were trying really hard to stay true to the original characters, but plot holes 10 bajillion miles wide that I could not ignore. Science that got pulled out of their butts. And I'm sure, original Trek pulled lots of science out of its butt.
Science in Star Trek?
But there were just too many of them, and it just annoyed me too much.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, as a fan, you're really torn on it. It's like, myself, it was really hard to reconcile my feelings on it. It's like, some fans didn't even have to watch it to denounce it completely from a continuity standpoint. It reboots it, and some people said, it dismisses continuity. It destroys Star Trek continuity just from the fact that it takes, by the sheer fact that it reboots it, it dismisses continuity entirely. That was enough for them to denounce it completely. Yeah.
That wasn't even an issue for me. I mean, I've watched original Trek, I've watched Next Generation, I've watched Deep Space Nine, I've watched Voyager. I love them all, but I was willing to look at this as just its own thing.
So was I.
I didn't expect it to be anything other than something new. But it was kind of stupid.
Yeah, I was. Sorry. Go ahead.
The plot holes annoyed me so much, and it almost felt like they were trying too hard at points. There were. I guess you want to throw in all those little references, like damn it, I'm a doctor, not a fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And every catchphrase, every mannerism, they try to throw in like everything. Kirk with the green chick making it out and all that stuff. But it felt almost like they were throwing too much in and trying too hard. I mean, some of it was good to see. But after a while, it got a little tiring. I just started to feel like, if you want this to be your own thing, let it be its own thing, and don't try too hard to be the old thing.
Where I was torn was, where it really excelled was the quality of the acting and the charisma of the ensemble cast. It was really well done that way. Where the first Star Trek really failed was the fact that it was really, really stupid. It was really dumb, and the fact that I can and did shred it to pieces on how just really poorly scripted it all was. As an action movie, the energy was really nonstop and frantic. As an action movie, it was well paced. The pacing was great. The script was just brainless.
Yeah. I mean, you can say it never got boring. There was never a point where I was like, gosh, won't it move? It stayed entertaining. It kept moving.
But yeah, it was one of those movies where I was like, God, this is dumb, but I was entertained. And so it's one of those movies where I hated to like it, but I liked it. As a fan, I hated it, but I still liked it. Very definition of ambivalence. I liked this movie way better, Star Trek Into Darkness. I liked it way better than the first one. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to like this one.
Yeah, this one I didn't even when they were throwing stuff in, I didn't feel like it was too much. The cast felt even better together. Like they were finally starting to feel like the characters to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in the last movie, they were trying very hard to be the characters, but it didn't quite gel with me. This one, it felt more like they had gotten comfortable with who they were supposed to be portraying.
And I also found that, you know how you said those moments where they were kind of forcing those moments, they still had kind of those moments where, Bones was, I'm a doctor, not a torpedo surgeon, and that kind of thing. He still kind of had those moments, and yet it kind of flowed a little more naturally.
Yeah.
And,
the other ones felt like they were just thrown in. Like, there was a scene that needed some punch, so they would add a funny Star Trek quote. Yeah. Whereas in this one, it felt more like just people would say these things.
I think where I really was a big fan was it felt like they were doing less of an impression, and still they were staying true to the Spock character in particular. Mm-hmm. It still felt like it was Spock, and yet he was still staying very true to the character, if that makes sense. He was. It was a really good performance, and yet it was still, he was not just parroting Leonard Nimoy. Mm-hmm. It was really impressive all the way around, and it was really good seeing them come into their own. Where the guy I was really least impressed with was Simon Pegg.
Really?
I really liked that guy as an actor, and yet he really was just kind of doing a parody of James Doohan. Mm. I'm getting oh, she's good, Captain. He was just kind of running around doing his goofy Scotty impression. And I'll be fair.
Well, I mean, Scotty does a goofy Scotty impression.
Yeah, and Scotty really was just, I'm giving it all, she's good, Captain. That's all he ever was on the show anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what to say about that. I will admit though, Scotty was. The Scotty character was given more to do in this movie than he ever was in the show or anywhere else in any of the movies. So, no. In The Voyage Home, Scotty was all over the place when he was given the transparent aluminum thing. Mm-hmm. Hello, computer. The basis of this movie, and this is not spoilers, this is in the trailer, is that there is like a terrorist who's struck Earth and is targeting Starfleet installations. And it turns out this guy is essentially, and this is a minor spoiler, but everyone's figured it out, it's Khan. This guy who's been unfrozen, and he's, for some reason, targeting Starfleet. It's Khan. Mm-hmm. And now, I won't reveal the reasons why or how or what he's up to, because that is spoilers. Eventually we will get into spoilers, but I will tell you when and where to skip to avoid it. But, so we were talking about why we liked it and for what reasons. So, where do you want to start?
Let's see. Well, like I was saying, it felt more like they had more naturally grown into the characters. Mm-hmm. It no longer felt like a kind of irritating parody. It felt more like they were just they were the people they were portraying. Like in the first movie, I couldn't believe them. Yeah. I didn't believe that was Kirk. It was just some guy who was acting and trying to occasionally sound or have a mannerism. A mannerism, sort of like Just forgot the actor's name.
What do you mean? Leonard Nimoy?
No. Kirk.
Oh, Kirk. William Shatner.
Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering names today. But yeah, in this one it felt more like they were just being characters without trying so hard to be the actors being the characters.
Yeah.
That was my problem with the first one, is it felt like they were trying to be the actors and then be the characters second. This one they were just being the characters.
So I guess we really should start talking about the plot, because it does kind of flow into kind of what we liked and what we didn't like, in terms of moments, because there were kind of forced moments here, because we do start getting into the parallels to the previous movies, because it does homage / rip-off / parallel, and sometimes the line gets blurred. Mm-hmm. To where you can either... This is where people will either kind of groan or squee, mm-hmm. or...
Depending on your how you like it or whatever.
This is where critics, fanboys, or... This is... I can easily see people come down, middle hate like, mm-hmm. and I came down on the like side on several, and on a few I groaned. Mm-hmm. So, I guess spoilers are kind of unavoidable at some point.
Yeah.
I guess I will say, let's do mild spoilers, and I don't think people are going to be gravely offended by these. So I'm not going to give a time code on this one. So basically, at some point they're trying to track down Khan, and who is hiding out on the Klingon homeworld, Kronos.
Mm-hmm.
So they go. They're looking for him down there, and he's hiding out on some kind of like blasted out ruin on Kronos.
Mm-hmm.
And they beam an away team down there, and they get cornered by Klingons. The basically the police catch them, and a bunch of little tiny warbirds come down, and they force them down to land, and the cops come down. They have this body armor, and we get to see the reboot Klingons for the first time, and I was not blown away.
I didn't like their look at all. It could be that I'm just way too attached to next generation Klingons.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm used to. That's with the forehead and the warrior top knots and the mustaches.
Yeah.
That wasn't this. These looked more like.
When did we see the Klingons who looked like that? That they were kind of like smooth. They were like smoother. They still had the forehead things, but they were like smoother. It was almost like early, kind of that mid phase between like the original series and the big ridgy kind of foreheads. What, you remember that? Mm-hmm. I can't remember. Was that like the in between era or what? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
I'm
not. I couldn't pinpoint.
I remember there was kind of an era where we saw them like that. I'm probably pulling that right out of my ass. I don't know. It was kind of
because in original Trek they
looked like they had Fu
humans.
Manchus,
Yeah.
We don't like to talk about this,
But then by the movies, they started to look very typically Klingon.
Yeah, and okay, well, they look different. They look like kind of a more streamlined version of the Klingons from Next Generation. Kind of less extreme.
I would say more. They look less human. Like they look more like something from Mass Effect to me than a Klingon, because the Klingons kind of look like barbarians, like warriors, like should be wearing like either bones and fur, or they should be wearing samurai armor. Whereas these guys just looked like they should be wearing like what they were wearing, just like silver like armor that is kind of weird and shapeless, and none of them had hair. They had weird like piercings down their their lobster face, and it just wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was me either not liking the design or them being different, and I don't like things that are different. I could not determine that. Mm-hmm. I actually do not think I liked it, but again, this is me recognizing my own observer bias. I don't know. Mm-hmm. What I actually legitimately did not like was the fact that when they came down the little ramp, for one, they all looked exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Like they all had the exact identical armor, and I know they're military and they have uniforms, but what I mainly didn't like was the fact that they had these helmets, and the helmets all had these little forehead ridges. That was so dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And the second thing was, they're all about to get killed. Like, Uhura's talking to them in Klingon, which only reminded me of that one time that I think it was Star Trek V when Uhura's talking to them in really, like, lame Klingon, when she's supposed to be the linguistics expert, but anyway. It doesn't go well, and the Klingons are about to kill them all, and then Khan, like, runs out of the shadows with that big fuck-off, like, blaster minigun, and he's, like, killing them all. And the Klingons, who were supposed to be like these combat experts, are just getting mowed down like bitches.
He's cutting through them like butter.
And they're like, "Oh, what do we do?" Ah! They're like supposed to be.
There was no resistance whatsoever. They were just falling all over each other.
And I know Khan is supposed to be like this ultimate warrior and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, these guys are just like, "Oh, what do we do? Oh my god!" Mm-hmm. They put on like the worst showing ever. It's hilarious. Yeah, I love that. Although the new Klingons, they still keep like they're supposed to be like the kind of next gen we believe in honor type thing. So I don't know. There's that.
Although apparently killing an unarmed woman is honorable.
Yeah, apparently they're willing to like choke a bitch. So there's that. I guess now we have to completely pronounce spoilers on this one.
Yeah, there's no way to talk anymore. Otherwise the review's done here.
Okay, so we're going to have to go to catastrophic spoilers. To avoid the spoilers, you're going to have to skip to this time code to hear our final thoughts. So, yeah, skip ahead if you don't want to hear spoilers. Until then. Okay, so I guess we can talk about the performance of the guy who plays Khan, and you'll have to... Benedict Cumberbatch. I cannot believe I remember his name. I guess I do, because if there was ever going to be a guy who played Sherlock Holmes...
He'd be named Benedict Cumberbatch.
He would be named Benedict Cumberbatch, wouldn't he? Yeah. Completely miscast.
Miscast, but he did a good job with what he was doing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, again, this could just be my bias from being, this should be Ricardo Montalban, but I believe they were trying to get as far away from that as possible.
Yeah.
They didn't want to try to emulate Ricardo Montalban doing Khan. They wanted a completely different sort of thing, because you can't top that. You just can't.
Well, you can, but...
I don't think you can.
I'll chase him round the rooms of Libya.
You can't do better than that.
Okay, well, let's say this.
So I think they were just trying to...
You can't out Ricardo.
Yeah.
You have to do something different.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. They were trying to go for a very intellectual... a threatening intellectual type of villain. Mm-hmm. And he nailed that. However... You have to go for when it comes to a guy like Khan, he has to be a super genius and a super physical threat at the same time. That is exceptionally hard to nail. That's a really hard thing to get, because that kind of guy doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's very...
I'm sure it exists.
I mean, it's a very hard...
It's not a common combo.
That's a hard guy to find, mm-hmm. And so I don't know what to tell you. So. And they do their damnedest, and actually I think they did a damn fine job making him seem a physical threat, because when Khan hits a guy, the dude flies like 30 feet.
Yeah, they did a good job with the effects there. Like
the guy moves when he moves, the guy moves at fucking warp speed. When he hits a guy, the guy puts a dent like 3 feet deep in a steel bulkhead. Mm-hmm. I thought they made him move and sound and feel like when he hits a guy, the sound there's like a 30 decibel bass impact. Mm-hmm. It was really well done, I thought. His choreography was really great. Mm-hmm. And when he was tearing apart the Klingons, the guy was like a friggin' war machine. He had, he was swinging around seriously like a 6 foot, 300 pound, like the BFG 9000 from Duke Nukem. You're like, where the fuck did he get that? It was really well done, the fact that they made this guy look like a war machine. Downside, he looked nothing like Khan from the movies. Again, reboot, I get that, but at the same time, he looked nothing like a guy who would be named Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's, I guess. I think we're completely, our idea of Khan is completely tied up in Ricardo Montalban.
No. Forget Ricardo Montalban. When you think of a guy named Khan, you think of, some Arabian or some, Middle Eastern, or you think of some dark-skinned Persian, or I know not all Persians are dark-skinned, but you think of some Middle Eastern or Arabian guy. You know what I mean? You don't think of Benedict Cumberbatch. You don't think of a British guy.
I don't think British guy really.
That's what I mean by saying he's.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all I'm saying. But you know what I mean. Actually, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a more offensive choice. He's a white guy, and he's like, my name is Khan, and I'm like, really? Your name is Larry, because his alias was Harry Winston, and I'm like, I buy that, Actually, we're not even talking spoilers now. But, okay, here's, actually, the reason I kind of like this movie way more than the other one was because the whole psychology of it was, it actually kind of fixed the plot holes that I hated about the first one. The opening sequence was about how Kirk is an idiot. It sets up how he doesn't give a shit about the Prime Directive. Mm-hmm. He fucking pilots the Enterprise out of the ocean in front of a bunch of tribals who immediately worship the Enterprise as a god, which immediately gets him into deep shit with the Admiralty, take the Enterprise away from him. Mm-hmm. basically get him drummed out of the Federation. Sorry, Oreo's freaking out. So it immediately costs him his job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, brilliant. His recklessness cost him his entire job.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And the entire arc of the movie is about how he learns the nature of responsibility, how
Mm-hmm.
he learns the nature of sacrifice, how basically he learns the nature of the no-win scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Just
and
like
accepting the consequences.
accepting the consequences of his actions, the consequences of responsibility, all of that. It's basically learning all the lessons he failed to learn in the first movie. Basically, learning what a jackass he's been ever since the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how unworthy he's been for the captain's chair. I was like, there's actually like a moral arc that was completely lacking in the first one. Because in the first movie, I was rolling my eyes the entire time at how he basically mutinied.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like he went from cadet to captain in one day.
Yeah.
I was like, bullshit. And it was bullshit. And basically, after he violated the Prime Directive of the Admirals, he was like, it's bullshit. And they took the Enterprise away from him. Like, beautiful.
Yeah.
So, where was I going with the spoilers?
Yep.
Oh, we gotta talk about the ending.
Oh.
So, essentially, this leads into the ending, where there's a really clever inversion of the Wrath of Khan, because obviously when we're going with the Wrath of Khan, that we're gonna go somewhere with the ending of the Wrath of Khan, because we're dealing with Khan. So we're gonna talk about, obviously something's going to happen with someone's going down,
Mm-hmm.
But so we're not dealing with the Genesis device. Or actually, in the video game, the Star Trek video game, we do deal with the Genesis device. That's a whole other can of worms, but not in this movie. In this movie, we're actually dealing with the crew of the Botany Bay. Although they don't talk about the Botany Bay by name, we're dealing with the crew, because the rest of the crew is revealed to be the frozen crew. The frozen super dudes, are still. Okay.
Not explaining this very well.
Okay. Khan is one of these super dudes, right? He's super strong, he's super smart.
Sure.
He's basically super. He's not Captain America, but he's evil. So they're like Ubermensch.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in eugenics and super people, and they want to destroy everyone who's inferior to them. So him in 78?
72.
72. The Khan's the only one who's been unfrozen, so he's got all his other people in little frozen pods, and so this evil Federation guy wants to start a war with the Klingons, and they're going to launch all these guys onto Kronos, wake them up, and they're going to start a war with the Klingons, blah. So, Khan's not down with that, so he wants to unfreeze all his dudes and start do his own little eugenics thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so, yeah, Khan wants to unfreeze all his guys. Long story short, too late. Khan and Kirk basically have an alliance of convenience to stop the Super Federation guys, because the evil Federation guy has this big fuck-off dreadnought, and so they invade the dreadnought and they start this big war, and sure enough, Khan turns out to be evil and betrays Kirk, and so the Enterprise gets all shot up and the warp core gets knocked offline and they're about to crash into Earth, and then someone's got to go fix the warp core, but Spock's on the bridge and they're about to crash, and then it's Kirk who's in engineering, and then they get knocked off a bridge, and then Scotty gets knocked off the bridge and Kirk catches him, and then Kirk, he slips, and then who catches him? It's Chekhov, and he catches both Scotty and Kirk, and then apparently Chekhov, who weighs about 100 pounds, he catches Kirk and Scotty, and apparently Chekhov's been working out like a motherfucker, and he pulls up both Kirk and Scotty, who combined weigh 385 pounds.
Probably not quite that much, but
this little Russian dude,
little 17-year-old Russian Chekhov,
17-year-old little Russian motherfucker,
to pull them both over the railing.
He must spend every night in the gym clanging and banging, because he's like, "Aah!" these two assholes right up on that fucking railing.
That was not an accurate demonstration.
He's like, Captain, hold on, yes,
That's not how it
He's
went.
like fucking Zangief, man.
That part was a little silly.
No, he like rips his uniform off. He's got like this big mane and chest hair, like, yes!
Now he's totally making
Yes! That totally happens. Because he's like, in Russia, he wrestles bears. He's got these scars all over. You don't know this shit. He feels no pain because he drinks vodka by the quart. Anyway.
Is there any other countries we can insult tonight?
Dude! I'm giving him credit. He's super strong. Okay.
Get to the point.
Okay. So the warp core's all fucked up, and of course someone's got to go fix it, but this time, it's Kirk. So, Kirk's got to go in there and he fixes the warp core. And so, of course, they have that really touching bromance moment, but this time it's Kirk who's got the whole deadly radiation poisoning. And essentially they reenact the whole moment, where it's all... But Kirk's behind the glass and they do that whole, the ship out of danger. Mm-hmm. And it's very touching. It's very sad. I cried a little. So it's essentially line for line. It's good, and it was very good, and so
and then Spock, of course, does the
yeah, and you knew it was coming, and this is where you're gonna come down one side or the other. Mm-hmm. Forced, yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. You knew it was coming. Question is, are you okay with it? Yeah. Honestly, I would have used another take. I really would have.
Yeah.
I would have done another take of that one.
Yeah, he could have done better.
I would have done another take.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the concept itself, I was okay.
It was a good take. Mm-hmm. I would have done another one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm not saying it was a bad take. I'm not saying he should have done cheesier. I'm saying he should have he should have done a face melter, like. I'm not saying that.
Screaming to the heavens. He was a little restrained. That was the problem.
Yeah, it was kind of a restrained scream. I'm saying
restrained con.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not being like ironic. I'm saying like he's like ah like. Because Shatner, like, that was what was really good about Shatner, was he, like, fucking cut loose. Ah! Actually, what Shatner's was actually kind of inappropriately, like, I was like, whoa, dude, that was, like, really mad.
Dial it back a little.
That was kind of inappropriately ragey. Buried alive. Fuck yeah! It's like, whoa! Didn't think you'd be that pissed, but yeah. Actually, I was telling April in the car. This is the mega spoiler. Of course, they don't keep Kirk dead because the trick is that Khan has like regenerative Wolverine blood. So McCoy, they pull Kirk out of there, and he's got he's got fatal radiation poisoning. He's basically dead, but he's not. He's only mostly dead. He's not all dead. So he's slightly alive. So they realize that if they inject him with Khan's Wolverine blood, that he can come back. And so that's what they do. They manage to kick Spock. He thinks that Kirk's dead because he's mostly dead. So he goes down there, and there's this huge epic fight scene. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's on, like, they're standing on top of, like,
hover
cars, beating the shit out of each other, and
it's fucking awesome because Spock's all fucking, he's like fucking.
He's just wailing on him.
Yeah.
He's like, he went super rage beast.
Yeah, he goes into fucking beast mode. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. He goes on the bridge. He's like, where's fucking Khan? And he's like, turn the sensors on. I'll fucking kill this guy. And Sulu's like, there he's there. Like, beam me fucking down there. And Uhura's like,
exaggerating.
No, he's not. No, I'm not. And Uhura's like, there he is. Points out the window. He's like, beam me the fuck down there. He's like, give me a phaser. And Uhura's like, yeah, Uhura's like, God, like, Uhura's like, I don't know where she got a phaser. He's like, gives him a gat, and he's like, get that son bitch, and he's like, goes down there.
This is totally not what happened, by the way.
It is.
He's
like,
lying.
No, it totally is. He like beams down the middle of fucking street with a gun.
That's true, and nobody runs screaming.
Yeah, they do. Like he beams down the street with a fucking gun. He's like, bitches down, and like everyone.
That's not what happens.
Yeah, it does. He yells, bitches down.
Like, you go sit in the corner until you.
He bitches down. He starts shooting, and like everyone's like, ah!
Leave.
And he's like holding the gun sideways, like ah! And
You don't get any more sugar now.
Because like he's in his like pun far. Because he's in fucking beast mode, and he's gonna like fuck him and kill him.
Are we ever gonna get back to the actual?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
No, we're not. You're getting further and further away.
I'm getting there. So he's gonna fuck him up and kill him, and he kicks Benedict Cumberbatch's ass, and they cast resurrection on Kirk. So obviously they weren't gonna.
The whole thing was kind of set up. I knew it was happening because in an earlier scene, a way earlier scene, like McCoy is like he's got a tribble, and of course they had to throw a tribble in there. That felt kind of stupid, but he's like, and he's like, what are you doing with that tribble? And he's like, the tribble is dead. I'm injecting it with Khan's blood to see what it does.
My God, Jim.
So you know exactly what's going to happen.
Good eating, Jim.
When Kirk is dead, they were gonna go because then they're like, oh no, Kirk's dead, and then the tribble starts doing these tribble moving, and you're like, oh well, okay, solution.
There was this part of me, and you're gonna think I'm fucking around, and I'm not. There was this little part of me, actually it was kind of a moderate part of me, that kind of thought that bringing Kirk back was a cheat. I kind of wish they'd left him dead.
Yeah, I know why you would think that.
A little bit.
I know why they didn't.
I know. Oh, I totally know why they didn't. Totally know why they didn't.
You really can't expect a movie like that to go for the bold move. They're not going to.
Obviously, I know they couldn't.
No,
you can't have.
They're probably gonna have another sequel. They need him.
No, they can't have fucking Star Trek without Kirk. Duh. But you thought that without about Spock. Mm-hmm. Like shit, you can't have Star Trek without Spock. Mm-hmm. But that was what the genius of the Wrath of Khan was. You were stunned back in the day. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And so they brought him back the next movie.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about these movies, though, is
they kind of blew it, though.
Well, ultimately, they're less risky. They're going for easy mode because they want the most people to be entertained and give you the most money. They don't want to push things too far, or And besides, even if you did kill off Kirk, everyone would know you just did the parallel Wrath of Khan. He's coming back the next movie anyway.
Yeah. But
it's not like you wouldn't guess it.
But I mean, I brought him back the next movie. I guess they blew it right away when they obviously titled the next movie "The Search for Spock." Duh. Although I guess there was always up in the air whether or not they found him. Oh, what I always found was funny was, I honestly, okay, Kirk goes they're obviously about to get fucked up by the evil Starfleet Admiral guy. Because he's trying to keep the whole thing about Khan a secret, because he obviously can't let it get out that, he started this, he's illegally starting this war with the Klingons. Mm-hmm. So, he's teaming up with Khan to go kill everybody. So, he's like, I don't know if we can trust Khan, because we totally can. So, he's like, open up a channel to New Vulcan. And so he calls
Spock,
calls himself up.
Spock calls old Spock.
He's like, hey, Spock, and Spock's like, hey, Spock. He's like, you ever hear of this guy named Khan?
And then Spock gets this look on his face.
Spock's like, oh, shit.
Son of a bitch.
No, that's what, old Spock goes, shit. And he's like...
No, the best part is that then he's like, I told you I'd never tell you anything. You have to do this all by yourself. But...
Yeah.
Let me tell you a few things about Khan.
Spock keeps doing this. Last movie he did this.
Yeah, he's like, I can't tell you anything about your future.
He's like,
but
he's like, Spock, I made a solemn vow that I would never tell you secrets about the future. But okay.
yeah, it was totally like, he spills the whole thing.
He's like, but fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Khan guy, this asshole.
He should just start writing stuff down. Like, okay, you're gonna want to worry about. Okay, if you run into Nomad, here's what you do.
Yeah.
Get ready for V'ger.
V'ger. Oh Jesus, V'ger. Oh, by the way, you might want to look into finding how to clone humpback whales. You're gonna need 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I might suggest San Francisco, George and Gracie. What else? You might want to watch out for the Borg. Yeah. Might want to look into that subroutine on how to make them go to sleep. Just saying. Anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, he keeps spilling the beans on the future.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, come on, we gotta get rid of Khan. And he's like, no, I can't. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck that guy, really. Yeah. So, yeah. That was pretty much Star Trek. I mean, it was a much tighter script.
I'm sure there's plot holes, but they weren't huge,
Yeah.
glaring, stupid, angry-making plot holes.
Yeah,
like
because
the first one.
apparently you can just fly right up to Kronos and nobody will stop you.
There's that. Yeah.
Apparently you can just fly right up to the edge of the neutral zone and launch torpedoes into any city in Kronos you want to, and yeah, that's kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
Apparently you can just walk up to a Klingon and push him the fuck over.
That and when the ships were crashing into Earth, you'd think that there'd be something around Earth by this point in the future to stop things from crashing into Earth.
There is. There's a defense grid because in in the first Star Trek reboot movie, Nero is very interested in the codes to the Earth defense grid.
So what the hell is going on that they're letting giant starships crash into the atmosphere?
Apparently there's also no ships of any kind that can support a crashing starship. That's taking...
Or that can stop and beam people off of this starship.
There's no support ships of any kind in Starfleet, in Earth orbit.
So there was stuff like that, but it was more forgivable than the first ones. We have red Kool-Aid that makes magic black holes.
Oh, the red matter? She had a real problem with the red matter. Rightfully so.
That and I was thinking about it this afternoon, like, okay, so was it the star that was going supernova in the first one? Was it the star of Romulus?
Yes.
Or was it just
a
star? Okay. Like I said, again, you would know if your star was about to go supernova. This is not a thing that happens randomly out of nowhere.
In this case, it was, yes. Apparently it was.
That's what I'm saying. That doesn't happen. You would know. They would have had time to evacuate. I mean,
I can't explain this.
Like, the sun goes through phases when it is about to go supernova. You would have, like, expanded, contracted. It would have done a lot of weird shit.
I know it does. I know.
So, that and the whole,
I know.
black holes not tearing the ships apart and putting them in the future. And
I know. No, because
and
you can eject the warp core and blow it up, and blowing up a warp core solves everything.
Yeah.
Because explosions.
Explosions, and even though, not even light can escape from a black hole, but
No.
if you blow up your warp car,
No.
that's fine, you can escape.
Babe, warp explosions are science, and you can blow science up, and it solves black holes.
I'm gonna shove science up your ass.
No, warp science is... It fixes things.
It'll right up your ass.
Mm-hmm. So that was Star Trek Into Darkness, which was much better, and apparently Khan is now white. Yeah!
White and nerdy. Kind of nerdy.
It was very good. I would highly recommend it.
I was entertained.
Yeah.
It didn't make me want to punch dolphins like the first one did. So that's a ringing endorsement.
And you can trust her because she really thought the Star Trek reboot sucked balls.
It made me. It didn't. I thought parts of it sucked balls. It
No.
made me mad.
You pretty much thought the whole thing sucked.
The plot holes like that make me so angry.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't think about this. You didn't. Spock, you've been on this planet for 25 years. You didn't think to walk the 14 kilometers to the base that was there.
I love that.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Spock was on that planet for so long.
You don't even want to say, hey, you guys, there's this guy who kind of maybe wants to blow up Vulcan. You know, we can look up there and see it. And
Spock was on that planet for I don't know how long. Kirk goes over there and he's like, yeah, we gotta warn Starfleet. And Spock goes, there's a Starfleet outpost 14 kilometers from here. Let's go. I was like, why the fuck didn't you walk there in the first place, you stupid man? Ow! Ow! Ow!
He's been waiting there just for Kirk to arrive, but no. Just, yeah. What else did I hate about that?
You could rant about this all night.
I could.
You did last night.
I did.
You're just like me in that regard. You were pissed watching that movie. You were biting your tongue all night, and you credits rolled, and you were like, "That was a piece of shit."
I like science, and I don't expect science fiction movies to hold to all the laws of science, but at least make it seem kind of plausible to people who have a rudimentary knowledge of the way, like, cosmology and astrophysics works.
When Spock was recapping that stuff.
Like, here's what I thought of the day.
Okay.
If you're trying, if it was indeed Romulus' son that you were trying to stop the supernova from, and you're gonna suck it into a black hole to save it, what the fuck is Romulus gonna do without a sun? Those people have like 8 minutes before they all die because now they have no sun.
Yeah.
Did they not think of this part?
No.
Like, immediately, global cooling. You don't have a sun anymore.
No. You're right.
Plus, if you put the black hole close enough to
they stop
there,
spinning and they have no gravity.
Yeah, there's nothing there now.
Well, they probably have gravity.
Now you're spinning around the black hole, and maybe like a totally. I don't know how close the
rivers and seas boiling.
Yeah, well, like I have no idea if you say replaced our sun with a black hole, if that would be close enough to the event horizon to suck us in, or if we would just orbit it. I'm not that versed in physics, but yeah, that wouldn't work. They would still all die.
Yeah.
So that was not a good plan.
Death would be relatively certain, yes. No, absolutely certain.
So yeah, I had a few minor problems with the first one.
Yeah.
But the second one was good.
Yeah, it's very good.
There was no magic Kool-Aid making black holes, so I was good.
Why did he bring so much of that stuff when all you need is
Yeah,
a little...
they need a little drop, and they've got this huge ball of it.
It's kind of overkill,
really.
really.
Dangerous. Somebody in there like
Ooh.
trips and falls into it, and there you go.
Just in case some psycho Romulan captures the rest of it and uses it to blow up somebody's planet.
Just in case, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, why would you even need again? I'm sorry, I can't stop ranting about this. Why would you need to put it in the center of the planet to make the black hole blow up the planet? You could just put it like within, like anywhere near the planet. You don't need to get even that close. There's a black hole. They suck everything in as long as it's within the event horizon. And for the bigger the black hole, the bigger the event horizon.
Right.
Are you laughing at me?
No, I'm saying you're absolutely right.
I'll stop ranting about the first Star Trek.
I think it's highly entertaining.
I'm good at science. Not that good, but
I'm totally agreeing with you. Oh, you should mention Sulu.
Oh, that pissed me off too.
Yes.
God damn it. So they're going down, like in the first movie, they're going down to the planet, and Kirk asks him, so what kind of combat experience do you have? And he's like, fencing, which is great. I was like, oh, that's great. They referenced the fencing from the original series. That was wonderful. So what happens when they get down to the drill and they have to fight some dudes? He busts out a fucking katana and starts doing martial arts on them. I was like, that's not fencing. Maybe it's a type of but fencing is with a foil, a narrow fencing sword. That wasn't fencing. It was magic, ninja antics.
Kendo, probably.
It wasn't even kendo. Kendo has very specific form.
It's movie ninja stuff.
It was like movie ninja stuff, and I was like, that was exactly what they tried to avoid when they did, that episode of Original Trek. He wanted to be a swashbuckler, not, a ninja. That was the point. And then they do this and they make him a ninja, even after saying fencing.
Well, I mean, he is. I think he's Chinese, isn't he?
I don't know.
Well, isn't it John Cho? He's Chinese.
And yeah, what I expected to happen was like I thought he would find like a sharp like piece of metal or a radio antenna and improvise.
A radio antenna.
Like I would have bought that. That would have been great.
Like
Instead, he gets this like it's not even like a sword. It's like he pulls it out and it's like a fucking transformer sword.
He finds a Plymouth and like whips off the car antenna.
Well, like they were standing on top of the
yeah, I found
thing,
it.
and you know. It would have made more sense to me. I would have bought that entirely. I would have thought it was clever. But him having a sword and then after saying, I do fencing, and then suddenly it's ninja skills.
I so badly wanted to find out if they brought like 2 red shirts with them. Like specifically, they pointed out like 2 red shirts, and they're like when they're going to Kronos, and they're like, "You two, come with us." I think they even said like, "You two in the red, come with us."
They didn't. I don't think.
I think they did.
No wait, they told somebody at one point to put on a red shirt.
No, that was Chekhov.
That was Chekhov.
But like they specifically pointed to like 2 security guys, and they're like, well, "You two are like trained in combat. Come with us." And
Did they die?
I don't know.
Died.
I asked you. I was like,
I didn't see them after that scene.
I know,
so
right?
They might have died. The red shirt in the first one died, which was
the guy with the goatee.
No, remember when they're all going down towards
Right.
the
That was
drill.
the joke though.
Yeah, I know.
But I can't remember if the guys in the shuttlecraft, because I was watching them, but I didn't see if...
I saw them poke their heads out. I don't know if they ever got into the actual fight.
That's what I mean, is I didn't know.
I can't remember.
Because there was that big firefight, but I was trying to see if they got killed. It was so chaotic, I couldn't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Well, and after that, it's like you don't really see them regroup. It just goes to the
Yeah.
next scene.
You just kind of see them put... They put Khan in the brig, and I didn't see what else happened to them. Oh, well. We have rambled on long enough, so until then... Enjoy Star Trek Into Darkness. Khan! Had to be done. Good night.